Sports Matters TV.
Guys, I'm joined by the legend himself, Mr. Mason Jones, UFC star, future lightweight champion of the world as well. It's only a matter of time. First of all, Mason, how's things with you?
Mate, let me just say that sounds so good. Lightweight world champion, yeah, definitely. Do you mean that's the dream, that's the vision, and that's what we're chipping towards. But yeah, I'm good. In California, so obviously you can see it's quite warm. It's 25 degrees here, even though I'm still wearing a jumper. Just a bit breezy, so that's the best weather, I think. Bit of sun, but still cool enough to wear a hoodie, so you get the best of both worlds. But yeah, I'm perfectly well. Training out here is going exceptionally well, and yeah, I can't wait for June 5th.
Now, speaking of June 5th, obviously a big fight, Viva Las Vegas, a stuff many fighters will dream about. How's preparation going so far for this fight?
Good. Obviously, I'm fighting Alan Patrick. He's a 37-year-old Brazilian. He's got good striking, very good wrestling, and decent jiu-jitsu. He's a top pressure fighter, and he likes to advance in most of his fights. Comes out strong, and goes a bit ham for the first round. So we decided, me and my coaches, that with the ability to get out to Team Alpha Male again, obviously travel corridor is still closed, but the UFC got me a written waiver to be able to travel. That there was an opportunity that I needed to take, and especially against someone of his style, of his caliber, I needed to make sure I was training with other high-level opponents. Obviously, my sparring back home is legit. I get very, very good sparring back home, brilliant strikers, but it's a lot harder to sort of surround yourself with full-time pros like it is out here, and especially UFC level guys. Like, there's 3 of us in Wales at the moment, 3 UFC stars in Wales. Out here, there's something like 15 or 20, as well as Bellator, one. There's multiple different organizations and multiple different weight divisions. So I get a good mix of welterweights, training with people like Max Griffin, lightweights, training with people like Chris Gonzalez, Alexander Munoz, and then featherweights as well, like Feely and Elkins. Also Mike Malott, who's currently, I don't know what promotion he's fighting under, but he's legit. And also pads me well. So yeah, it is. You get the full mix, the full sort of surrounding, and it's exactly what I need. We're all working towards their end goal of being the best in the world, and like, I get to do day in, day out with these people. So like this morning, 8:30, I was in the gym training with Touchy Feely underneath Danny Castillo. We're just a light drilling session, and like I said, it's exactly what I need to do, ready for June 5th.
Definitely. Like Mason, you've had a massive taste of success already with Cage Warriors. It's one of the most prestigious organizations in the world, easily the biggest in Europe. Obviously, double champ status, you know what I mean? An incredible record with Cage Warriors. What did Cage Warriors mean to you? Because obviously it led the path to, a massive future.
Yeah, Cage Warriors is well-renowned, world-renowned for being the top European promotion, especially as a pathway in the UFC. Like, they passed over, I think they're up to 105 fighters now. It was a well-written path, and it was something that I knew was there, and obviously I stuck around, and I did. I originally started with Cage Warriors, and I told them from the start that I was going to stick with them until I got to the UFC, because that was what I wanted, and it was something that I knew would come if I stuck with them. They put on unbelievably good shows, and they got me a good sort of array of opponents and upset competition every single time. Like, I don't think I had one easy fight. What the opponents I had when I fought them, every single one of them was on had winning records, and every single one of them was on a tear. Obviously, accumulating with a fight for the welterweight title against Adam Proctor, who was 12-1. So I did what I wanted to do, and I did more than I wanted to do with Cage Warriors, and they got me where I'm going. And obviously, they got me my shot in the UFC, which didn't quite go the way I wanted to go. I've got a 0-1 record with the UFC, which is what matters and what counts. So this fight is this fight is very, very important. Like every fight is more important than your last, but for me, this fight is again, it's about just cementing my foundations and securing them. I said before my last fight in a lot of interviews that the lightweight division is a shark pool. So the best thing to do is to go in and just to sort of eat the fish in front of you until you're the biggest fish in that pool. Now, now I'm in that shark pool and I'm bleeding out. So do you know what I mean? I've got to sort of step up or shut up, and I'm doing that. Like I still don't feel the pressure. Like people said the last one after my last performance, they said, "Oh, was it the pressure? Was this?" And I said, "No, there was no pressure. I love the walkout. I felt good in camp." And like there was things that didn't go right for me, and there's excuses I could give, but I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to go into and say the sort of things that held me back in that fight. But when it came to fight night, I didn't feel 100%. I felt more like 40, but still, we had a fight of the night performance, fight of the month. It was for forwards too, and it was a decent performance against a guy I should have beat. So all I look back on it is as I take the negatives, I ditch the positives, I just focus on what went wrong and improve on that. And if I keep improving on what went wrong, then it's not going to be long until I'm number one.
Definitely. No, speaking of that UFC debut, obviously I watched it. It was easy to see that you didn't really pull the trigger the way you normally do. It was a fantastic fight, but we knew you should have won that. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to win that fight. If there was to be a rematch, even though it might not happen, you know, how could you see the outcome? Would you finish it the first 2 rounds?
100%. I see every fight of mine where I stop in the first 2 rounds. Like if you put me against Dustin Poirier, I think I could stop him in the first 2 rounds. Because it's the right mind, the mindset you have to have. But for Mike, again, like I don't want to go into excuses and stuff, but I didn't feel right. We were warming up, and I said in the warm up, I said, look, I just don't feel good. I said, I felt heavy on my feet and I struggled again, any rhythm go in. And I just sort of stayed really heavy on my legs to the point where I didn't feel like I could move, and I felt like I had to walk forwards. And then obviously I did that stupid thing as well, which because any one of these things wouldn't have been a problem, but walking forwards isn't a problem against someone like Mike because he controls range decently, but then he's happy to exchange in the pocket as well. But so it wouldn't have been a problem if I kept my hands tight, but keeping your hands loose and walking forwards. Like I won on the stats, but his significant strikes were more significant than my significant strikes. Like that's the only way we could sort of see that they give him a fight, and because it was close, but every time he managed to land a shot, he made sure he pulled the trigger. Whereas, like you said, I just didn't. So there's no excuses. There's no, oh, well, I won on the stats, I should have won, or looking it back. I'm just focusing on what I did well. You always have to look at what your opponent does well. And like, I come back after the first round and I said, look, you had those takedowns, and even though they didn't score because I didn't work back up, they still look good on the judges' eyes. And it was a quite even in the striking exchanges. But it was too close. So I literally come back. I said, look, I'm down a round. I need to push. And my striking coach literally said to me, he said, look, if you're going to push, he said, you need to get rhythm in your feet. He said, force it. He said, you only got to force it for 10 more minutes. He said, force a rhythm. And he said, just keep your hands up. He said, don't go in straight lines. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Go back up on the stool, went straight back in the straight line and got straight stuck back into him. So I brought it on myself. And again, like, I didn't perform well. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't listen to my corner, and it was a close fight. So when you see this next performance and you see me stick to a decent game plan, whether that's a change in game plan or whether it's what we planned, our plan A, you'll see better on what I can do. And I do think I'll stop Alan. He's tough, and he comes out and he has a crazy first round. But I do think I can wear him out, and that I'll overthrow him and stop him. Especially now, like I'm hitting a lot harder. I started committing more to my strikes rather than sort of like I was doing in that fight, worrying so much about winning on the stats. I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to let it go and make sure that every single time I hit, it hurts.
We can't wait for it, Mason. Now, speaking of divisions, you're in the, perhaps the greatest division of all time. This lightweight division is incredible. The likes of, Dustin, Conor McGrgeor, Tony Ferguson. They obviously all tickle your fancy, and you see future bouts against these guys. Like, who would you like to have a crack at the most? Obviously, look, they're all...
Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje.
He's made for
yeah,
it.
Yeah, he's one of the best wrestlers in UFC, full stop, and he just doesn't wrestle. Like I like that guy so much. Like no matter what he does, he's improving. And his team he's coming out of, obviously he's out Team Onyx, and there's only 3 fighters under that Team Onyx banner, which is him, Rose Namajunas, and Usman. So they're the 3. Do you know what I mean? The 3 fighters who easily should be in the pound for pound list.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gaethje definitely. Like I've always liked the striking style, the way he kicks away, he throws punches, and he's someone I'd love to tick off my list. But you could name any fighter in the top 15, and they're all credible threats. Like you see people who like rank 10, and you think, oh my god, like if he fought against Poirier or if he fought against Chandler or someone in the top 3, it's going to be a very very tough fight. Like you've got Dan Hooker, like Michael Chandler, like I said, you've got Charles Oliveira. Like these are all big names, and to be fair, they're all heading on a bit. Like they're all in their 30s. So I've got a long time to sort of work my way through, and I'm not in a rush. Like I'm not the type of person to come through and sort of say I'm going to be on a meteoric rise, because I've sort of missed my opportunity for that. If I had won my fight against Mike, then obviously I could have sort of started chasing for it. But I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to earn my way up. And if that means I need to have 6 fights in the next two years, then yeah, I'll push them 6. Like I'm happy to fight regular. Like whether I got a fight coming up or not, I'm always in the gym. So we'll win this fight, we'll stop, we'll recalibrate, and we'll look at who's next, and we'll go again straight away. I'm happy to just pull the trigger straight again.
I love it. Now, we have to stay in that division. Obviously, look, there's some big fights coming up. I just want your take. Obviously, we have Chandler and Oliveira. Who could you see win that fight? Obviously, Chandler's on a bit of a roll at the moment.
This is the thing. I don't understand how you can call that, because for the people who say Chandler's going to win because his wrestling's good and his striking's good, obviously striking looked phenomenally against Dan Hooker. Anytime you put Charles Oliveira on his back, you're having problems. Like whether he's on top or when he's on his back, he's a nightmare. He's horrible to deal with. Like he's one of those people you struggle to take down. You take him down, and then you wish you'd stayed on your feet. So whether whether Chandler tries to take him down, or whether Chandler keeps it in the pocket and exchanges, I don't know what he's going to do. Me personally, I think I'd sort of pin him against a cage and try and out dirty box him for a certain round of rounds, and just wear him away, sort of crush his spirit a bit, and wear him down, and then look to finish. But you never know. Like he could go out and he could knock him out in the first round. Like I didn't expect him to beat Dan Hooker the way he did. So this is the thing. I didn't expect Usman to beat Masvidal the way he did. I didn't expect Rose to beat Zhang the way she did. So these are all these fights. Like in the UFC, there's no sort of false building. There's no like building these people off people who don't deserve to be there. Everyone who's ranked is a credible threat, and that's the beauty of the UFC. Like it's the only organization where anyone in those rankings have earned their way there. They're not just there because like they sell tickets. They're there because they're all monsters.
Yeah. No, a lot of people obviously compare you to Conor McGrgeor because of what you've done and the similarities and stuff. Obviously, I'm going to quickly ask you in that fight. Obviously, McGregor's going to have to Dustin again, rematch. Do you think it's a wise move, or do you think Dustin can supreme again?
Wise move for who? Obviously, Poirier turned the title down to fight McGregor, and a lot of people won't like that. But again, it's a money fight for him, and you don't really get that many opportunities to get well paid with the UFC. Even if you're fighting for a title, it's hard. It's all about, like you say, building up your own net worth. And this is what makes me laugh. Like people will scream left, right, and center that fighters deserve to get paid. Like I don't deserve to get paid anymore unless I can prove that I deserve to get paid more. And that means I have to sell tickets and put bums on seats. And like whether you like McGregor or not, he's very, very well at marketing himself better than anyone else. As a sort of matchup, it depends on what McGregor turns up. Again, it depends on whether Poirier sticks to the same game plan or whether he alters it a little bit. I think if he tries sticking to the same game plan, I don't think it'll work. McGregor, whether you like him or not, like I said, you've got to give him props. He's one of the best strikers in the UFC. And like that first round, he wobbled Poirier. If he'd been anyone apart from him who wasn't as tough, then I could have seen it being finished. But obviously he eroded that leg and started getting success with that leg, and Poirier took the opportunity and then he finished. So it's one of those fights I'm going to watch, but you can never count anyone out. Like when Aldo fought McGregor, I thought Aldo would win, but I thought it would be in the deeper rounds. I thought McGregor could finish him early, but early to me would have been 4 minutes into the first round, not the way he did. So you can't ever call anyone out or count anyone out. But that's a fight I wouldn't like to call. It's just one I'm going to watch and keep my money in my pocket.
I love it. Now, how's life out in the States? Obviously, look, you're a Welsh lad. We know what it's like. You know, I'm in Ireland. We know what it's like in Ireland, Wales, and Scotland, and the UK. But look, obviously the weather's good. Obviously, it's a big cultural change. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I love it out here. Fingers crossed. My girlfriend's currently studying law. She's on her last year at uni, or I think she's starting her last year. So it's not going to be long. I'll be sort of trying to come out here on a more permanent basis. I'm sort of trying to build my passive income up as much as possible. I'm trying to get some good sponsors underneath me so that I can not move out here permanently, but sort of live out here a bit more longer term. So like 3 months at a time, and then go home for a few weeks and then come back out and do another sort of good couple of weeks and then go back and fall. Just getting away from the cold helps a lot. But I do like my coaches back home. I've got a good reputation, good relationship with my coaches, and their coaching is world class. Yeah. So if I could bring them out with me again, it just sort of it helps, because Team Alpha Male is obviously one of the best teams in the world, but there's only so many coaches for I don't know how many fighters. So obviously you can build personal relationships and stuff and sort of get there in and sort of get some help, but having your own coaches that are there just for you just obviously takes that to the next level. And to be fair, like when my coach has been out there before, Uriah, Danny, Chris, they're all unbelievably thing. Like I remember my coach, one the first times my coach came out with me, they sort of like didn't want to sit next to the mat side and sort of coach, because obviously in a lot of gyms it's not really accepted. And I remember Uriah like turning around and being like, well, what are you doing? Come sit mat side and coach your boy. You know what I mean? Like they really don't mind, because they know it's, even though it's a team sport, it's still an individual. There's only one person in there fighting. And like, to be fair, they're so welcoming here. Like they're unbelievably nice. The training's unbelievably high. And I know certain gyms where they'll bring fighters in they'll allow to come train, but they split the mats and they keep them away and they protect their sort of roster of fighters. Whereas the fighters out here, they all just look after themselves. Like the first time I come out, it was a couple of weeks until the likes of like Feely and Darren Elkins would train with me. Not because of obviously my worth not being enough, but more so they just want to see and sort of get a sort of appraise you a little bit first to make sure that you're not just headhunting and you're people they can go get good rounds with. And now, like, do you know what I mean? I'm trusted to train, and I gain as much as they gain out of it.
Love it. Now, last of all, we have to obviously, you know, we're going to be watching in June. We can't wait for the fight. Now, some people like to tell us, some don't. Look, it's completely up to you. But can you give us a prediction? Obviously, how do you see the fight going? Me and the team have a first round finish. That's what we have it now. I don't want to, you know what I mean? As you say, you have a game plan. But can you see the fight being finished, or would you be happy to get all the rounds in?
Oh no, I always look to finish. Like I'm not the type. Like I said, I'm not here just to sort of fill a slot. I'm always or to win with decisions. Like Alan does. Alan's a decision fighter. I'm really not. Like I go out there and every round I go out there with the whole plan of I'm just going to smash you. And that's the way it goes. And every 5 minutes, I'm getting a back up off that stool. I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to take in the fight there. And that's the way it goes. And I hit hard. I hit fast. I don't tire. And I'm consistent. So my whole game plan is to go out there and, like I said, just tear him up to pieces. I think the first round's going to be an absolute war. He's going to come out, try taking me down. I'm going to keep him standing up. I'm going to wear him away and chop at him. And he's going to get off that stool in the second round, and he's going to be struggling. And he's not going to want to be in there. And then the second round, I'm really going to take it to him. And I think if I don't stop it in the first, I'll definitely stop it in the second. But again, if it goes to the third round, there's no problem. I'll come out the third round and I'll do exactly the same thing again, which is smash you to pieces and stop you when I can. That's just the way I am and just the way it's going to be.
I love it. Listen, it's been an absolute honour watching you at Cage Warriors. Obviously, UFC debut. Even though you didn't get the win, look, it's a learning curve, as you always say. We can't wait for the show. We're going to have all the links up to your Twitter and Instagram and all social medias. My man, stay safe. All the best in June, and we'll be right behind you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Honestly, it's an honour to get on. Hopefully we'll sort another one out when I get this win. So definitely get back on. So yeah, thank you very much. Speak soon.
Look after yourself, bro. Be good.
Bye. Bye.